idea that you could like use the compass app or any of that. Or
Yeah,
call 911
and that's why I'm making this video, because this is like this is how you can actually freaking save your life. Don't put your GPS coordinates on your voicemail. Hi folks, it's Switchback. There is a downright dangerous meme suggestion going around about safety, about changing your voicemail if you're in a dangerous spot. And I want to clear that up and give you some actual recommendations what to do if your phone is low on battery and you don't have good cell service and you want to know what to do if something like that were to happen. So I'm going to first read what this meme said. If you are ever lost while hiking, get stranded with a broken down car, etc., and you notice your cell phone is either low on juice or has no signal, here is a tip that very well may save your life. Change that voicemail on your phone to a message that gives your approximate location, the time, the date, your situation, lost, out of gas, car broken down, injured, etc., and any special instructions such as you are staying with the car, you are walking toward a town, etc. The best part of this is that even if your cell phone dies or stops working, voicemail still works. So anyone calling your phone looking for you will hear the message and know where to find you or where to send help. A few problems with this. First of all, you can't even change your voicemail if you don't have cell service. Do most of us even remember how to change our voicemail, especially in a stressful situation? You know, people have talked about, a map and a compass isn't going to help you if a mountain lion's chewed off your arm. Well, you're not going to be like, oh yeah, how do I change my voicemail? That's not going to be what comes to mind in that particular stressful moment. Most women already feel unsafe enough about being out on the trail alone, or traveling alone, or walking somewhere alone at night. And even if you're out with a group, you're still not going to want to put that information out ahead of time on your voicemail. So what can you do instead to keep yourself safe? First, before you do any kind of leaving the house, traveling, etc., for a trip or for a hiking day, leave an itinerary with someone that you trust. Whether that's just texting someone and saying, hey, I'm going to this park, I'll be taking this trail, or if you're going to be traveling somewhere, somebody should know where you're going, where you expect to be staying, what routes you're planning on taking, any other information that would be pertinent to your travels, and at what time they should be concerned about you if they haven't heard from you. And notify them if you do change plans, because plans do change, absolutely. But if you're able, certainly if you are out of cell reception and you don't have a satellite communicator, there's only so much that you can do about notifying someone of a change, but then they know to be concerned if they haven't heard from you. And make sure that your itinerary is pretty solid. If you just have a rough idea and you decide you're going to extend 3 days, someone needs to know about that. And if you're planning on doing that ahead of time, or if you're thinking that might be a possibility, then tell them, I may extend this. So at this point, those 3 days later is when someone needs to be concerned. You can usually get your GPS coordinates on your phone. So on an iPhone, you can go into the compass app, and even if it's in airplane mode, it will show your elevation, what direction you're headed, and your GPS coordinates. And so if you have any juice on your phone, you can text that out to 911 along with any relevant information, like if you're injured, etc. If you're running out of water, if you're lost. You can also send that to loved ones if they need to be able to be in better communication with search and rescue or EMS than you do. If you don't have an iPhone and you have a little bit of reception, you can go onto the Google Maps app and you can drop a pin where you are, and that will give you the exact GPS coordinates, and you can do the same thing with that. Out of curiosity, after recording this, I went on to a couple of my paid GPS apps to see if this would also work there as well as how it works in Google Maps. Sure enough, I went into Gaia GPS and I went into OnX Backcountry, and I can link those here in the description below. And you can see where I marked a location and it shows the GPS coordinates right underneath it. This is just another argument for why you should have a GPS app that you can download maps onto your phone. Both of these were done in airplane mode just to ensure that would actually work, because that's usually the case when you're out in the backcountry. Texting will often work when voice features don't. And again, this will use less battery than trying to do any kind of a voice feature, even including calling 911. Speaking of calling 911, you can call 911 if any cell carrier gets service where you are. So if you have AT&T, but AT&T doesn't get service there, but maybe Verizon or T-Mobile does, you can still call 911. If you're going out into the wilderness, a few things that you can do to prevent any of these issues: learn how to use a map and compass and carry them with you. A lot of people don't know how to use a map and compass. They rely solely on their phone for their GPS. And this can be dangerous, especially if you do get off track, if you end up following a trail that turns out not to be the one that you planned to take, and then your phone dies. Knowing how to triangulate on a map with a compass is really helpful. And there are lots of wonderful videos on YouTube to show you how to do this. Carry a satellite communication device, such as a Spot device or a Garmin inReach. One of the things I really love about having the inReach is that when I am out solo on a backpacking trip and my plans change, because they do change, I can send my wife a message and let her know, like, hey, I've decided I'm not going to go to that lake today, or I've decided I'm going to go and check out this summit or whatever. Or if, I'll leave her an itinerary before I go, but I'm going to leave like every possibility of what I'm going to be doing. So then once I've gotten up there and I know how my energy is, and I know how the water sources are looking, and I know what it actually looks like up there, I can say to her, so I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do X, Y, and Z on this day, whatever. So that way she at least has a narrowed down idea of what's going on. And I can check in with her and be like, I made it to camp or what have you. I'll also let her know that sometimes there may not be enough clear sky, or there might be too much tree cover for a message to go through. So that is something else to keep in mind if you do have a satellite communicator. And again, this is why it's so important to say, this is the day at which you need to be concerned that you haven't heard from me. And I'll always let her know too when I get back to the trailhead. As soon as I get service, I let her know. When it comes to your phone, satellite communication, etc., and even like a rechargeable headlamp, which I always carry with me too, carry a battery backup so that you can charge all of these items. I personally carry an Anchor power bank, and I always carry all the cords for any devices that I have. So like my headlamp and my Garmin are both on a mini USB, but of course the iPhone has to be a special snowflake and have its own charging cable. So I take that as well. All of these things will only do so much for you if you do get injured out on the trail, but changing your voicemail is not going to be what saves your life. Again, you probably won't be thinking very clearly if you're truly in an emergency. If the issue is that you're stranded along the side of the road, you may have to hitchhike. That may actually be the safer thing, so that you can get yourself into town and get to where there's a payphone or a landline or some other way that you can call for help. If you have communicated out your GPS coordinates, stay put. Don't make search and rescue do even more work by then wandering off and trying to find, then they have to try to find you from there. If you can, get to a water source. Get to somewhere where you're safe to stay until they find you. And it may take a couple of days for them to find you, especially if you are out in the backcountry and it's not easy terrain for them to navigate. Even if you press the SOS button on your Garmin inReach, it doesn't mean you have 3 hours till search and rescue finds you. It may take a few days, so be prepared for that. This is why it's so important to carry the 10 essentials, which again, I have a whole other video right here that talks about that. One of my goals with this whole channel is keeping you safe out on the trail. And I hope that this video has been helpful for you. I hope that you'll share this with people so that they know why this recommendation is so unsafe and how to truly protect themselves. If you're into hiking and backpacking and getting out on your own, be sure to subscribe below. This is the kind of stuff that I have on this channel. I have lots of great safety tips. I'm going to actually link a playlist that I have that's just about trail safety at the end here. And I hope to see you out on the trails. Be sure to give this video a like down below and hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you got out of this video in the comments, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.